boys, we're back on board with the circuit here at Myra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Hello fellow motorsport people and welcome to this week's Retro Motorsport. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's great to see all this stuff given another airing on TV. First up this week, it's cars. The year is 2008. The racetrack is Taupo and it's the Sports and GT class from that year's Tasman revival meeting.
This is the second weekend of the 2008 Tasman Revival Grand Prix Series. We've moved from Pukekohe Park Raceway to the Taupo Motorsport Centre, and it is the Arrow Wheels Sports and GTs we'll be focusing on today. A very varied bunch of cars, but some real speed and some real crowd pleasers. This is race 2 for the weekend for the Arrow Wheels Sports and GTs, and on pole position is Don Bradley in the Alpha GTV, but the very best of the starts from the outside of the racetrack will go to Racing Ray Williams. Looks like Bruce Mannon will slot up into second place in the Escort, but it's the Ivory Beast, as he calls it, the Porsche of Ray Williams in the front. Looks like everyone's safely through 1 and into 2. Bradley moves up into third place, and then it's one of the Morgans. I think it'll be Rob Douglas up there in fourth place. We'll check on that when they come a little bit closer. Well, Ray Williams won race 1. He out-qualified the rest of the field as well as they work their way into turn 5 now, turn 6 coming up, and then it's down to the fastest part of the racetrack. And you can see for yourself a very varied bunch of cars out there. We've got Alphas, we've got BMWs, we've got Jaguars, there's Fords, there's the odd GM product, and there's this Porsche in the front. And it's been that way all weekend long. Racing Ray Williams, Bruce Mannon using all the track and then a little bit more as they work their way down past the old clubhouse. This is the fastest part of the circuit here at Taupo. Williams down through the gearbox now into the braking area for the big double apex sweeper. And then out onto this long, long straight. This car, the production land speed record holder in New Zealand, still is to this day. And this is Ray's second car, if you like. The Ivory Beast, he calls it, but it's had so many wins in Porsche competition. It's had over 200 wins driving Porsches, and a lot of them would have been at the wheel of the Ivory Beast. Battles further down through the field. Number 147 there is Peter Bernard in the Escort. Right in behind him, Gordon Legg in the E30 BMW. Number 97 there, Don Bradley. He's up in third place now as the 88 car, Bruce Mannon, just waggling a bit of a wheel. In fact, he might be up into second. He might have got past the Escort. Yes, he has. So there's been some problems there for Bruce Mannon. Normally he's as smooth, but the car just all over the place at the moment. There is the Alpha of Bradley. Qualified second fastest, but nobody had an answer to Racing Ray Williams, and that's the way it's panning out here as well. Mannon through in third place. Next one should be Bob Grove, I think, in the Escort. Further down through the field there, Brent Hickman. Right in behind him, it's number 246, Tony Olisoff in the Alpha Sud. This is another Alpha, but this is a man in second place. It's quite a bit quicker than Mr. Olisoff, I can tell you. Lap time difference is huge. Ray Williams going around here in about the 144s, and some of the slower competitors just cracking the 2-minute barrier. 45, Brent Hickman lapping at about the 148s at the moment, so he's there or thereabouts. Just got a glimpse there of the Jaguar of John Munro just up ahead of him. It's the other Jag in the field. I said we had some exotica there, number 23. It's Rob Mostyn working his way out of the big sweeper and down the long straight here at the Taupo Motorsport Park. Meantime, Racing Ray's just come through the complex and heading down onto the pit straight once again. So he has got all the advantages of being the leader, nothing but clear track in front of him. And Don Bradley just a little ways away, not within striking distance at the moment. Here's a great little battle going on here between Brent Hickman and Tony Olisoff. Well, if you like your motoring open air, you'll love this car, number 695. This is Rob Douglas in the Morgan, and he really does race the hell out of this thing. He goes in all the events. He's a Targa stalwart. He runs at Pukekohe in the historic classes. This is John Hudson, another one that goes in just about everything that's going. Been around for a long, long time. Had that car for a long time too. And right in behind him, it's car number 71. That's David Thompson in the Mark 1 Escort. And they're battling at the moment for 11th and 12th place. We go back to this enthralling little battle. This is a battle for 7th and 8th. 45 is Hickman. Olisov just in behind him. Then we go back to Mostyn in the Jaguar by the look of it. So the battle of big and small being fought out here on this new tarmac here at the Taupo Motorsport Park. This is the same track that they use for the A1GP cars. I can tell you that they go around here in about 1 minute 15. Well, these cars are a little bit slower, as you'd expect. And as I said, the fastest of them so far, Racing Ray Williams, 1:43.5 is his best lap time. Hickman, barely see him above the window edge there. As he stays in front, this is Don Bradley, currently sitting in second place just through turns 11, 12, 13 into 14 now and down onto the pit straight. Just got a brief glimpse there of the race leader. That's Racing Ray Williams, 88, Bruce Mannon. Oh, and there's a big shunt here. This is Tony Olisov, and he's hit something pretty hard. Lots of smoke signals, lots of steam out of the front of the Alpha. Meantime, Rob Douglas has got his hands full with Ricky Cooper sitting in behind him in the Datsun. Number 231. Here is the man in third place. This is Bruce Mannon. Another one that's been around the motor racing scene for a long, long time and has had that car for a long time. John Hudson still hasn't been able to shake the attentions of Dave Thompson, so it's BMW 2002 versus Mark 1 Escort. In the Arrow Wheels Sports and GTs, second race of the weekend for these guys. They'll have one more to come. That'll be a handicap race. And they normally provide some pretty interesting racing as we watch Bruce Mannon, and he's trying so hard. It's unusual to see Bruce look as untidy as he does here, so that's a tip of the hat, I guess, to Don Bradley, because he's giving it everything to try and catch him. Here's John Munro in the Jag, and right in behind him it's Rob Mostyn, so it's a battle of the big cats here at Taupo. Currently battling out for 8th and 9th place. Heading out toward the fastest part of the racetrack as the man in third place works his way through this brand new complex. They changed the configuration of the chicane for this year's A1GP race. It certainly worked for the A1GP, and I think it worked for all of the classes that race here in this second weekend of the 2008 Tasman Revival Series, brought to you by the Historic Racing Club. Racing Ray Williams, well, he is out on his own at the moment. This is a battle at the back of the field. Number 17, one of the popular little E30 BMWs, and right in behind him, it is Peter Bernard in the Mark 1 Escort. You know, the big crowds have certainly come for the Formula 5000 Revival Series, but I tell you what, they've stayed to see some amazing racing in all the support classes. Bob Grove, number 161, currently sitting in 4th place in that beautiful Escort Mexico. Oh, and the battle for the big cats is hotting up as well. It's number 120, John Munro, down the inside. This is going through turn 1. Right in behind him, it's Rob Mostyn. And then it is the Porsche there, by the look of it, of number 55, and I think that's Mark Glidden. Oh, somebody just disappearing in some dust there. I don't know if that was the Porsche. We'll wait and see. No, it wasn't. So he's still... Oh, and Bruce Mannon gets it wrong. Well, that's something you don't often see. He's just outbraked himself coming out of turn 2, by the look of it. Now, does that mean that Grove moves up a spot? I don't think it does, because the margins were quite big. Battle of the big cats, 23 on your screen is Rob Mostyn. Just in front of him at the moment is John Munro. Rob Mostyn in the XJ6. Checkered flag coming out though for Racing Ray Williams. He makes it 2 for 2 and makes it no contest. Second place will be Don Bradley in the Alpha, and in third place it'll be a recovering Bruce Mannon. Fourth place will go to Bob Grove in the Escort, and in fifth it's Morgan Plus driver Rob Douglas. Sixth place is Ricky Cooper in the Datsun. This is the third and final race for the Arrow Wheels Sports and GTs, and it's a handicap, so everyone gets a little bit of a chance to shine in the sun here of the Taupo Motorsport Park. First away, I think it's the boss, number 318, Gordon Legg. Next one away, it'll be number 71, Dave Thompson, and also Jeff Sparks, I think, in the Dolomite. This is Gordon Legg in the Speed Week Speed Machine E30 BMW. Here is David Thompson. So this going on lap times. Mark Glidden, number 55, gets it wrong, takes to the grass in the Porsche. Regular runner in the Bridgestone Porsche series. So he's done a fair few laps around here. Smoking the tyres is Racing Ray Williams, and he's given this field a pretty healthy handicap, so it's really going to have to look to his laurels now if he wants to win this one as well and make it a clean sweep for the weekend. One race race 2. This is race 3. Can he do it? He's got 6 laps to catch this man, and this is Gordon Legg. His second full season now in the very popular Radio Sport BMW E30 series. Of course, they're racing here, so Gordon doing double duties, getting as much lap time as he can, which is good. Here is a man that's probably forgotten how many laps he's ever done in motor racing, Racing Ray Williams. Now qualifying as a pensioner, over 60 years of age. Glidden just up ahead of the Jag of John Munro, car number 120. The XJ6 Jaguar, so it's a similar Jag to that of Rob Mostyn. Mostyn's is a newer model, but this is the leaders heading down the long front straight here at the Taupo Motorsport Park. Racing Ray Williams yet to be sighted, but you can guarantee you've got to go hard right from the get-go in these handicap races, so he'll be pushing it to the limit just to try and improve his position in the early going. This is car number 71. David Thompson in the Escort. Right in behind him, it's Munro in the XJ6. Then I think it'll be Glidden. Then it's Rob Douglas. Then it's the second of the Jags. Just following... well, I got a feeling that it is, by that style, it could be no one else but Mark Parsons in the Bygone Autos Rover. Well, if you want spectator appeal, you've got to keep an eye on Mark Parsons. He invented the sport of drifting before it was a sport. I've seen him do this in rally cars. I've seen him do it in the Holden Monaro. And here he is in the Bygone Autos Rover. And it's as sideways as you like. And this is what Mark Parsons is known for. He's a brilliant driver in his own right. He's won the Targa. He's won rallies on asphalt and on gravel. He currently is the Toyota Racing Series official team driver, drives the team transporter, which he also does up in Europe. So he comes down from the Europe off-season and gets a job down here in New Zealand. Racing Ray Williams now in retirement, but the fastest man on the racetrack, but not the leader, because that is number 147, Peter Bernard. Working his way around the big sweeper here at Taupo. He's got some company there, and that looks like it's the Dolomite of Sparks through in second place. Well, Ray Williams has said anything Mark Parsons can do, I can do better, and he gets a little bit sideways as well, but no one does it better than this bloke. This is Mel Clark's Targa car, if you like, the Rover. Here's John Munro working through the turn 12, 13, 14 complex and out onto the pit straight. And he's currently sitting just inside the top 10. This is the race leader, though. Out of turn 1, heading up into 2 now. Looks like the Triumph Dolomite of Sparks through in second place. And as we always see in these handicap racing, as the laps wind down, the racing gets closer and closer. Rob Douglas chasing Mark Glidden in the Porsche. Douglas, of course, in the Morgan. This man, though, continues to lead it. You can see using good use of the curbs here at Taupo. Well, this man using good use of the rear wheel, of the rear tyres. As sideways as you like, the V8 Rover has got plenty of power, but I don't think Mel Clark normally drives it like this, but Mark Parsons putting on a show for the crowd here at the Taupo Motorsport Park. Here is John Munro in the XJ6, the Jaguar, and look at this. Well, we had an inkling that this is what Mark Parsons was going to do. He's kind of having a guest drive, if you like, but it's always spectacular. He gives Bruce Mannon racing room because he knows that Mannon is contesting a season-long championship. And he was looking for as many points and as many placings as he can get in this, the handicap race, because he would have started well toward the back. Things getting a little bit closer at the top end of the field now. Gordon Legg back in third place, just up ahead of him. It is the Triumph Dolomite of Jeff Sparks. Race leader continues to be Peter Bernard in the Escort. Here is Racing Ray Williams. He'd be inside the top 10 now, and his next victim, if you like, will be Mark Parsons. There's Bruce Mannon just up ahead of him, so he's got past Parsons. Well, Parsons probably let him go because he wants to be doing the showboating, if you like, putting the show on for the crowd here. But Racing Ray Williams, well, he's all business. He'd like to pass Bruce Mannon and then get as close to the front as he can in the laps remaining. There's the other portion of the field. This is Mark Glidden, still holding out the attentions of David Thomason. Rob Douglas has got by him now, so those positions have changed just a little. This man continues to lead it, but I wonder for how much longer. Bernard in the front. Well, Racing Ray Williams hasn't been able to shake the attention yet of Bruce Mannon as they work out through the serpentine section of the racetrack here at Taupo and out onto the faster part of the track down past the clubhouse. Big lock up there from Glidden, and that means that 71 can get just a little bit closer. David Thomason, there is Racing Ray Williams. Right in behind him is Bruce Mannon. Now these guys are setting a blistering pace because Racing Ray's last lap was a 1:43.226, and that's the fastest he's gone all weekend. Next one he comes up on will be number 71 by the look of it in the Escort. Goes past him, no problem at all, so moves up another spot. Is he going to get to the front of this field by the time the laps run down? Rob Douglas up ahead of him, so too Mark Glidden. This man continues to lead, just holding on by the skin of his teeth now. Oh, perhaps I spoke too soon because he looks quite comfortable out there at the moment. Jeff Sparks back in second place in the Dolomite. Down the inside of Glidden comes Racing Ray Williams into the big sweeper at the top end of the circuit here at Taupo. His next victim will be Rob Douglas in the Morgan, and that should put him up into the top 5. Race leader onto the pit straight. There is John Munro. There is Racing Ray Williams. So the Morgan is dispatched. Rob Douglas goes back a spot. You just get a glimpse at the edge of the shot there, I think, of Bernard, the race-leading Escort. But he's got a bit of a tiger on his tail now because Racing Ray has gone around John Williams through 1, so that would put him up into 3rd place now, I think it is. Monroe just dragging a bit of dirt onto the racetrack as he heads up through turn 3. Here is Mark Parsons. Amazing car control when you think as sideways as the Rover's ever been, and he keeps it on the black stuff. 12, Racing Ray Williams in hot pursuit of number 147, Peter Bernard. Has he got him yet? No, he hasn't. There's the second place man, and that is Jeff Sparks in the Triumph Dolomite. You get the feeling that Ray should have disposed of him by the time they get to the big sweeper. Parsons now just having a bit of fun. Racing Ray Williams has passed Peter Bernard, and that is the pass for the lead as he heads down past the clubhouse, so he caught them a little bit quicker than I thought. Now is Bruce Mannon going to get past Bernard as well? I think he is. He dives down the inside of him as Racing Ray comes into the braking area at the top end of the circuit. The Ivory Beast is going to make it a clean sweep in the Arrow Wheels Sports and GTs. He won race 1, he won race 2. He's in the front here in race 3. Mannon's got up into second place. Then we go back to Peter Bernard. Then it's Rob Douglas in the Morgan. Then it's John Munro in the Jaguar. Down through the gearbox, hard on the brakes, through the left-right combination, and out onto the pit straight again goes Racing Ray Williams. Mannon closes up the gap, but it's going to be too little too late, and Racing Ray clean sweeps the Arrow Wheels Sports and GTs. Second place will be Bruce Mannon, and in third place it's Peter Bernard.
Next up, from the racetrack at Taupo, let's jump to 2011. It's the New Zealand Offshore Powerboats Round 7 at Maraetai.
At the first round of the Rayglass New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championships on Lake Taupo, Doosan led from the drop of the green in the battle for second raged between Fairview and Schick Hydro. Then Fairview switched their attentions to Doosan and went on to victory in the big 35-foot skater. Reigning New Zealand Lights champs nzblokes.co.nz, they won on Lake Taupo at round number 1, and on debut 60 Mile, that went to the Pals and back to basics. On to the second round of the championship on the big swells off the coast of Gisborne. It was a three-way fight between Doosan, Fairview and Schick Hydro. Schick Hydro unfortunately had drive issues, handing a second win to Fairview. And in the New Zealand Lights category, it was New Zealand Blokes up against Red Steel, and they were pretty much like that for most of the race until Red Steel had some driveline problems on one of their engines. NZ Blokes 2 out of 2 for 2011. And like Fairview and New Zealand Blokes, the Pals won 60 mile. So after 2 rounds of the championship, Fairview lead the overall championship ahead of Doosan, New Zealand Blokes in third, followed by Schick Hydro, Red Steel and Pro Floors. And for the 60-mile category, it's back to basics with 2 wins from 2 starts ahead of Konica Minolta leading the Sports Classics, Espresso Engineers, Auckland District Collections 1, Gulf Force 10 and Auckland District Collections 2, who also lead Formula Honda. So the third round of the 2011 Rayglass New Zealand Offshores is from Maraetai, situated just east of Auckland City in the Hauraki Gulf. This popular little beachside town didn't host a round of the series last year, so the teams are back ready to do battle in what is usually a fast but demanding race. The big questions are, will Fairview be beaten, or can Doosan, Schick and Pro Floors spoil the party for the big 35-footer? Phil Dark caught up with Warren Lewis and Chris Hanley from the Fairview Windows and Doors team before the race start.
Our boat doesn't accelerate, so the other boats can take off, and certainly at Taupo and Gisborne, like we weren't foxing, we were just, our strategy is they're always going to pull away from us pretty early, and we've just got to race pretty smart and pull them in during the course of the race. So today probably won't be any different. It's 12 laps, it's a long race, it's rough out there. A lot can happen in 12 laps, so at the moment the fact that we are not the fastest off the mark isn't affecting our ability to be in the hunt at the end of the race.
So let's have a look at the race format here at Maraetai for round 3 of the championship. For the 100 milers again, it is 12 laps like Taupo and Gisborne. For the 60 mile championship, it is over 7 laps. The racecourse situated between Maraetai and Waiheke Island in the Hauraki Gulf. So fanned out across the Hauraki Gulf looking for the race start, round 3 of the championship.
Green flag.
On board with Schick Hydro. Be challenging conditions for them. 15 to 20 knot wind, just a short chop. On board with Doosan. Gary Gleeson and Sam Fillmore have struggled at the first 2 rounds of the championship with ballast issues on the pump side of that race boat.
Good line, mate.
Gary Gleeson there just talking to Sam Fillmore on board with Chris Hanley and Warren Lewis. Looking for 3 out of 3 in Fairview Windows and Doors for the 3rd round here at Maraetai.
Yeah, we're having troubles. I can't do much about it, mate.
Big moment there for Doosan on the run down to the beachfront. And this is where all the hard work's going to be done. The smaller boats in these conditions will be working very, very hard. On board with Total Oil, James Taylor and Shannon Thickpenny. They're right back in it. Just sitting the boat up on the transom there a couple of times. So it'll be a long race for these smaller 60-mile boats. As the big boys head down to the beachfront at Maraetai. Doosan with the race lead. Looks like Schick Hydro in second, chased by Fairview Windows and Doors.
Right, just let him go. Yeah. This is for your race.
Yeah.
Just see Fairview sneaking around the outside as Doosan leaps up out of the water. The reigning NZ1, 34-foot Phantom. So Fairview out to Schick's left. Schick trying to get that inside run, just tightening that mark on the shortest part of the course. Back on board with Fairview.
I've got a problem with the starboard engine.
What's the alarm saying?
I can't read it, mate. Engine overspeed.
Okay, slow down, slow down, slow down.
Well, some dramas there for Fairview. Schick Hydro have sneaked up the inside.
Back it down a bit, back it down. Okay, nice and easy, nice and easy.
So you could hear Warren Lewis saying they've got an alarm in the cockpit and an engine problem for the championship leaders. New Zealand Lights battle in behind. This is 4th and 5th on the water. Red Steel and NewZealandBlokes.co.nz. Getting further back, Total Oil pounding their way through the conditions. There's a boat just to their right. James and Shannon both checking it out. It looked like either Espresso Engineers or maybe John O'Hanley and Marine Works. As the Marine Medics helicopter goes to the attention, it is Espresso Engineers. So they've had a problem on the run down to the beachfront on the opening lap. The start boat just rendering assistance there. So the race continues on. Not too sure what happened there for Espresso Engineers. So Konica Minolta, the first big boat through in the 60s. That was Auckland District Collection's Mike Knight. And this is Gulf Force 10. They're slowing. They get hosed down from Mike Urquhart in the little Formula Honda. You don't see that happening very often. Usually it's the bigger boats putting all the water into the cockpits of the smaller boats. And you can see the conditions here on the beachfront. Here's the Ray Glass replay. Mike Urquhart and James Downs down the inside and hose down the big Gulf Force 10 skater, and it looks like it's game over for Gulf Force 10. They were slowing before they copped the hose down from the little Formula Honda. There's our 60-mile leaders, Konica Minolta. Ideal conditions for the big sports classics out there with the chop. So an exciting start to this race. Back on board with the race leader, Dusan.
Happy with the way that's sitting? Good line. Doesn't feel right, but it's got into the dial. It's right.
Dusan there just catching a couple of little hangers. So into second it is Schick Hydro. That's Dusan out to their left.
Feeling all right?
Yeah, mate, I'm just concentrating.
Yep.
So it's a fairly rough ride for Schick Hydro. There's Fairview third on the water. Now, I'm not too sure what that alarm meant, but they've certainly lost a lot of ground. Back on board with Hanley and Lewis and Fairview.
Full noise, Chris. Yeah, that's fine.
Just saying there, he can't get full noise. And they are definitely down on speed. You would expect to see those speeds up over the 117, 118 mark, even in these choppy conditions. As the drag race continues between Red Steel and NewZealandBlokes.co.nz, we've lost Profloors before the race start. They haven't got down to the beachfront. And there's our Formula Honda leader, Auckland District Collections, leading the Formula Honda Championship. And at the moment, they're pacing out there with CRD Automotive. Battle on their hands between themselves and Ray Glass, just sitting the boat on the transom. Former series champion Mike Smith, Bobby Lloyd sitting alongside in that BF150 Honda-powered Sonic. So they're really going to earn their keep today. In behind them, it is Total Oil, James Taylor and Shannon Thickpenny. You just see them running down the boat in front of them's wake just to keep them to that flatter water as Dusan completes the first lap with a big advantage already. And it's about 30 seconds in the opening lap. Sam Fillmore and Carrie Gleeson dominating the early laps here at Maraetai.
Yeah, you should have been out a bit wider, mate.
Roger.
And it doesn't matter. Round you go.
Back on board with Schick Hydro. There's the gap back to Fairview. So not ideal conditions for Schick Hydro with the short chop. We know this boat is very, very quick in the flat. They had a drive failure at the previous round at Gisborne. Back on board with Fairview, and again, look at that speed. It is definitely down. So an overspeed alarm, I think, means that the engine goes into Guardian mode or limp mode and drops the RPM to save any engine damage.
Tough on gear, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Here's
But
Fairview.
she's sitting nicely, though.
Yeah, mate.
Big hanger there for Murray Tuffin. But they're happy with the way the boat's sitting, saying it's tough on gear.
Just watch them. Watch them.
But as we say that, Fairview's just to their left. They've got to run on that short beat back out into the Gulf. So have Fairview got those issues sorted? They're back into the second position. But that lead is extending for Dusan out in front. Championship leader back into the second position ahead of Schick Hydro.
Just let him go.
Yep.
Welcome back to Maraetai, round 3 of the 2011 Rayglass New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championships. Doosan leading from Fairview Windows and Doors and Schick Hydro. This is the battle for 4th. And if you thought Gisborne was good, NewZealandBlokes.co.nz, Flea Coolin and Bob Smith, and Red Steel, the Carson brothers. Tony Carson joined by Wayne Carson for Maraetai. They are so close along the beachfront. You could not fit another race boat down between them. You probably couldn't even fit a Formula Honda. It is all on for the lights battle, and 4th and 5th overall. Pro Floors limping back down towards the pit area, having not made the race start, so further disappointment for Wayne Velder and Richard Shawes. Here's our 60-mile leaders, Ross Christensen and Greg Brink and Konica Minolta. Remembering these big sports classics are limited to 80 miles an hour. They are older boats in the category. This is a former New Zealand Championship winning boat, previously known as Sleepyhead, driven by Peter Turner, who won multiple New Zealand Championships. And how about this? Up into 2nd is Auckland District Collections 1. Mike Knight and Nigel Smethurst, they've won the Sports 60 restricted class, limited to 200 horsepower outboards. At the first 2 rounds of the championship, at both rounds, they actually stopped in the early laps. In behind them is Thin Ice, Graham Pike and Brett Archer. Another skater hull, but much smaller than the big 35 of Fairview Windows and Doors. So they'll be leading the Sports 60 class, and they are limited to 250 horsepower. Back to that battle for 4th and 5th, New Zealand blokes with a little bit of ascendancy. You can see this championship battle just raging right throughout 2011, and a big inside run there for Red Steel. Wayne Carson with the driving duties for the 3rd round of the championship. Former New Zealand Championship winner alongside Richard Shawes and the placemakers Anita Ripples days. And again, these 2 boats so very, very close together. Probably seeing speeds of 105 to 108 mile an hour. I don't think you'll see too much over that 110 mark from these 600 horsepower outboard rig 28 footers. Red Steel carrying a little bit more waterline length, having been the former superboat placemakers, of course. They had a pretty good battle going at Taupo, a sensational battle at Gisborne before a driveline failure saw Red Steel limp to the finish. There is Pro Floors out there in the race course, Wayne Velder and Richard Shawes trying to sort out what their issues are, but their race is already destroyed. Championship leader in Formula Honda, Mike Urquhart and James Downs in Auckland District Collections continue to lead Formula Honda, looking for 3 from 3 in the first 3 rounds of the championship. But a good run here for Rayglass. Mike Smith and Bobby Lloyd. And then in behind them we go back to the Duns and CRD Automotive. Certainly one of the best presented boats in the sport of offshore powerboat racing in New Zealand, whether it be a big boat or a small boat. Then it's Total Oils, James Taylor and Shannon Thickpenny. They almost stopped on that run down to the beachfront to maybe look at assisting Espresso engineers, but they saw that the start boat and the Marine Medics helicopter were there to render assistance. Then we go back to the Gambler. Next in the Formula Honda class, Kelly and Grant Smith enjoying themselves out of the 28-foot skater Rayglass from the last 3 or 4 seasons. 3 championship victories in that category. Oh, a moment there for John O'Hanley and Marine Works. Running 2nd to Mike Knight in Sports 60 Restricted. That is a big moment. John O'Hanley and Ashley Hanley in the boat, and it just caught a wave, tripped over and buried the front. Very lucky not to go completely under. So Doosan really have things under control. That lead is now out over the minute mark. Still being chased by Fairview Windows and Doors, but they seem to be down on outright speed. Schick Hydro in 3rd, looking for the finish after a tough couple of opening rounds in the championship. Back on board with Fairview.
Hey, we're gone again, yeah.
You can hear the alarm in the audio.
Now, try again. Try that now.
So that speed dropped down to 64 miles an hour. They've lost the better part of 60 miles an hour. Back on board now with Schick Hydro.
Fairview don't look to be pushing it.
No, mate.
Still got too much on us though, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
And listening to that, I don't know that Maraetai and Scott Lewis are aware that Fairview are indeed having problems. Slowing to a speed and having to reset maybe the electronics. So in behind them, the lights battle continues to rage with New Zealand blokes just ahead. So dramas for Fairview Windows and Doors, no dramas for Konica Minolta. They will take out the 60-mile victory. They led from the drop of the green, the red and white checkered out for Greg Brink and Ross Christensen. A giant killing performance to second for the Sports 60 restricted Auckland District Collections, Mike Knight and Nigel Smethurst. And a podium finish for Graham Pike and Brett Archer in thin ice. So we've seen a little bit of drama with the smaller boats. 3 wins from 3 starts for Auckland District Collections 2 in Formula Honda. And they will cross the line 4th overall behind thin ice. And the best result in the championship for 2011 for Ray Glass, crossing the line 5th overall and 2nd in Formula Honda. This is the battle for the final podium in Formula Honda. CRD Automotive and Total Oil. Oh, and a moment there for Total Oil. They just about went over. They've had to concede 3rd, but they tried hard to the last corner. CRD Automotive taking 3rd overall in Formula Honda and 6th in 60 mile. Here's the Ray Glass replay. CRD around the final corner, chased hard by Total. James Taylor just rolled off the edge of the wake from CRD and did a very, very good job to straighten the boat back up, and they will finish 4th overall in class and 7th in 60 mile. But here is our overall race victor. Current NZ1, Doosan, Sam Fillmore and Carrie Gleeson, their first win of the championship. They'll finish over 4.5 minutes ahead of a troubled Fairview Windows and Doors. They'll salvage some points though. And a good finish for Schick Hydro Racing, Murray Tuffin and Scott Lewis, 3rd in Maraetai. What a fantastic race, but NewZealandBlokes.co.nz just got away from Red Steel in the last laps. Flea Coolin and Bob Smith, 4th overall, taking out Superboat Lights for 3 out of 3 for them. And the Carson brothers in Red Steel will cross the line, 5th overall and 2nd in class behind NewZealandBlokes.co.nz. But it's win number 1 for 2011 for the defending champs. So Doosan taking the victory. As I said, a 4.5 minute advantage over a troubled Fairview Windows and Doors. Schick Hydro finally get the finish they want with 3rd overall ahead of New Zealand Blokes and Red Steel. And for 60 mile, Konica Minolta, their first win for 2011 in the big classic ahead of Auckland District Collections 1, Thin Ice, Auckland District Collections 2, taking out Honda 4th overall ahead of Ray Glass and CRD Automotive.
We went out there with ideas to try and dominate today. We had the CEO of Doosan America, who helped sponsor our boat, come over especially just to watch us race. So it was a pretty big incentive to make sure one of the guys with the checkbook and he's helped paying the bills, he wanted to see us do well. So we made a decision to try and lead and take it from the start.
We'll be 100 points in it again now, so we're back on track. I mean, it's great for us because the first 2 races we've had issues which have cost us races, you know. Taupo we should have won and we had a problem, so no, we're stoked, mate. The boat's going like a rocket, so really happy.
Unfortunately, before we even got to the start line, we had an engine shut down on us, so we struggled right through the race, to be honest. We were having to turn one engine off and reset the computer because it was going into Guardian mode, and we must have done that 30 times through the race, so when that happened before the start, we knew we were in trouble. So to come away with a second is far better than what we deserved. And look, to be honest, I thought Doosan was going to easily lap us through the race, and they didn't quite get there. So that's about the only consolation. But given what's happened, to come away with a second, I think we've been pretty lucky.
It wasn't pretty out there today. The water was certainly not our conditions, and yes, the objective was to bring the boat home and get a placing. Especially unfortunately with Pro Floors not starting, I just said to Murray, right, let's keep 3rd spot, let them go, because it's certainly not our water today.
To finish first you have to finish, so we're mindful of that. We know we've got some vulnerabilities in the boat, So it's important to get the finish today. And you know, there's plenty more legs in the championship to wait for some flat races and wait for our day.
Close, good, fantastic racing. You saw, I think, both boats' strengths and weaknesses in that race. You know, in certain legs we were better, in other legs they were, and I think we got our cornering a lot better towards the end of the race. We were losing a bit of time at the start.
Literally could have reached out and touched each other at times. It was fantastic racing. Full credit to Tony and Wayne. That was, like you say, a lot of trust, because it was good, close, solid, safe racing.
Arguably one of the races of the championship for that lights battle here at Maraetai, but Fairview Windows and Doors continue to lead, but that championship gap has narrowed to just 100 points over Doosan. New Zealand Blokes third overall and leading Superboat Lights, with Schick Hydro, Red Steel and Pro Floors completing the top 6. And 60 Mile after 3 rounds, it's Konica Minolta back to basics. There's a story about them in Napier. Auckland District Collections 1, Espresso, Auckland District Collections 2 and Ray Glass.
Now, it's back to Taupo in 2008. This time, it's the SS2000 class from that very same Tasman revival meeting.
This is the Taupo Motorsport Park, and this is the 2008 Tasman Revival Grand Prix, and this is a handicap race for the Motor Oils SS2000s, and first away is Paul O'Keefe. Now, he's a new boy in a Nissan Sentra, car number 128. Next away should be the other Sentra in the field, and that'll be Shane Morgan, car number 92. Have a look for the black car, the Toyota Starlet. That is Darren Greenslade, normally driving in the sports sedans. This next championship winning car from a few years ago, so this is the third group away, if you like, but it's the fast boys we'll be looking for. And none really quicker than Tony Goldsmith. He qualified first. First of the Integras away in group number 4. Fennell in there as well, car number 70 in the Toyota Celica. Essentially, there are 8 classes in SS2000 racing, and they go from 0 to 1300, normally aspirated, 0 to 1300 turbocharged or supercharged, and so on right through. There's a rotary class, of course, as well. As we watch Phil Brown there in the Corolla. This man continues to lead, though. Challenge the Taupo Motorsport Park for the SS2000 cars. There's one of the quick boys, that is the Honda Integra of Al Stewart. GearX sponsored car. There is the fastest man on the racetrack, and with him the second fastest man. In fact, McBride goes up the inside of Tony Goldsmith. Now, he qualified fastest, McBride was the second fastest. Goldsmith won the first race, McBride was second. And that's why they start at the very back, and we'll watch this battle intently, because I'm sure it won't be decided until we get to the last lap. Already it is Darren Greenslade that has cut himself away from this group to move through up into second place. 21 is Rick Bone in the little Datsun. This is in the 1600 class. He's leading that class. This is round 4. From here they'll go to Pukekohe Park Raceway and do it all again. O'Keefe, number 128 in the Nissan. Greenslade's got all he can handle at the moment. 49 just up in front of him. That is Scott Smith in the Honda Civic. Just in behind him, the little Vauxhall Chevette. These are the fast boys just going through this new complex of corners. They remodified the racetrack for the A1GP, and it's made it a one-line corner going out onto the pit straight once again. 33 there in the Ginny and Holmes car, and that is Glenn Archer. There is Kevin Hyde in the Herb Morgan wheels and tyres car. Kevin coming from, well, production car racing, and before that Speedway, every form of Speedway, three-quarter midgets and sprint cars. Still has the occasional race in a sprint car. This is what's happening at the front of the field. Still O'Keefe in the lead, 49 about to take that spot, I would think. That's Scott Smith. This is the big sweeper on the top end of the circuit now. Now it's a straight-out drag race. O'Keefe on the outside of the racetrack. Inside of him it is number 49, Scott Smith, in the little Honda Civic. Smith will take the front running, and I think Greenslade will come through into second place as they dive down into this left-right chicane now. This is the new complex of corners, 11, 12, 13. So it is Scott Smith in the front now. Greenslade through in second place. Then we would go back to O'Keefe, and then I think Morgan's still up there in fourth, so that's a good run for him. First race, of course, a straight-out race on qualifying times. Tony Goldsmith took the win in that one. This is the handicap race. There is number 92, and that is Shane Morgan. Number 16 leading this group, Mike Crawford right in behind him, Matthew McBride in the rotary, so Tony Goldsmith won't be too far away. Working their way onto the pit straight. There's Goldsmith in the number 1. He is the 2006-2007 champion, although he's got in his mind, I guess, he'd like to retake the championship, but at the moment Rick Bone is the overall leader. This is round 4 of 8, as I said before. From here they'll go to Pukekohe. And already you can see the faster boys just starting to make their way through. Car number 98, well, he is one of the faster boys. This is Dave Geraghty in the Mitsubishi Lancer, the Hydrolink sponsored car. I think we've got a change at the front of the field. No, there is the race leader. It's still number 49, Scott Smith. Down into the big sweeper again here at the Taupo Motorsport Park. Matthew McBride, and not too far behind him, Tony Goldsmith. Now they'd be up and about the mid-pack, I would think. Just working their way down past the fastest part of the circuit. Right in behind them, it was number 16, and that was the Mitsubishi Lancer of Mike Crawford. Goldsmith just stuck to the rear boot spoiler of McBride. Meantime, at the front of the field, you get the feeling that Scott Smith's time in the front is just a little bit laboured because Geraghty's starting to run him down now. Down onto the front straight they come, or the pit straight, I should say. David Geraghty in the Mitsubishi Lancer all over the back of Scott Smith in the Honda Civic. Goes for the outside run into turn 1. Not going to make it round there this time. But he'll go the inside-outside cut and maybe come up the outside of Smith. Smith has track position and he stays in the front for the moment. Oh, Gavin Higgins goes into the pit, so he is a retirement as we go back to this enthralling battle at the front of the field. Smith in the Honda Civic, right in behind him it is Geraghty in the Mitsubishi Lancer. Both of them running in different classes. Scott Smith in the 1600 class, Dave Geraghty in the open class. SS2000, as the name suggests, you can run any engine you like as long as it's no bigger than 2000 cc's. Kevin Hyde's got a bit of work to do here, as so too does Shane Morgan. Just moves away to the outside of the racetrack for Tony Goldsmith. Geraghty into the front now. Scott Smith in second place. Rick Bone starting to challenge as well. So too is Mike Bate by the look of it. Here comes the challenge from Bone, under braking for the big sweeper at the top end of the racetrack. Dives to the outside. Geraghty shuts the door, but he dives down the inside. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Bone jumps up over the curbs. He makes the pass stick. I would like to see another replay of that, see what the judges thought as well. Status quo is resumed because Geraghty goes back into first place as they come into this new complex of corners, 11, 12 and 13. And I got a feeling that Bone knew he made a mistake there and got out of the throttle to allow the Hydrolink car back into the front. That's the way it is as they come onto the pit straight now, but Bone isn't done with yet. Look at him just stalking left and right. Last lap here for race 2 for the Motor Oils SS2000s. Right around the outside goes Rick Bone, the championship overall leader. Can he make it work for him? I think he can. He's got track position. The next corner's a right-hander and he forges his way into the front, so Bone leads it now. Geraghty goes back into second place. Just got a glimpse there of Tony Goldsmith. Looks like it's Mike Bate in the Honda up into third now. This man, well, he was the best of the 1600 class in qualifying. He is the overall points champion in this round 4 of the SS2000s. Here is Goldsmith. Right in behind him is Matthew McBride in the rotary, and in behind him it's number 77, and he's in this fight as well, and that is Martin Dunn in the Honda Integra. Goldsmith leading McBride. That's the battle for 5th and 6th position. Out in the front, Rick Bone from Dave Geraghty. Then it's Michael Bate. Warwick Fennell is in there in the Celica. as we watch the fast boys coming through. Here is the man that is going to win this one, the second race for the Motor Oils SS2000s, round the sweeper. This is where he made the mistake in the previous lap, and I'm sure he got out of the throttle to allow David Gearty to get back in the front in his Hydrolink Mitsubishi. Not going to get out of the throttle this time as he comes up and approaches this new complex of corners put in to make the action a little bit more exciting in the A1 Grand Prix. Well, it's made it a little bit more exciting in the SS2000s as well. Hops the curbs through the left-right combination. One corner to go, and he will see the checkered flag first. So Rick Bone in the Datsun will take the win and the points. In second place, it will be David Gearty in the Lancer. Or will it? Oh, just from Michael Bate in the Honda Civic through in third. Then it was Fennell in the Toyota Celica, and then it was Tony Goldsmith. Right in behind Goldsmith, it was Matthew McBride in the Mazda. Third and final race for the weekend for the Motor Oils SS2000, and once again it is Paul O'Keefe, number 128, a new boy to the class, first away in this handicap situation. Next to go should be Shane Morgan in the 92, another Nissan Sentra. There he goes now. Darren Greenslade out of the sports sedans and into the little Toyota started away too. So Higgins in the Chevette. They had problems in race number 1. It was an early retirement. This man out in the front. The SS2000 register formed back in 1990, and it's an evolution, if you like, of the Shell Sport series. We mentioned the Shell Sport series, and you've got to think of names like Brian Roycroft and also Kieran Wills back in the day. They had dominant performances, and we've seen a dominant performance this weekend from Rick Bone. So he'll be away in the 4th or 5th group. Gearty gets away now. There is Scott Smith. Here is the race leader, though, Paul O'Keefe. So many of New Zealand's motorsports latter-day stars started their career in the Nissan Sentras. One name springs to mind, and that is the name of John McIntyre. 33 will play a part in this as well. Glenn Archer in the Jenny and Holmes car, the Honda Integra. And here are the quick boys getting away now. And Goldsmith, well, Matthew McBride must have a problem, because Tony Goldsmith has just rocketed away from him. Here is number 21. This is Rick Bone. He'd be looking for another giant killing performance. He won race 2, remember, the first of the handicap races. He couldn't get near this man in race number 1. It was a straight-out fastest from the front grid, and Tony Goldsmith took the win from Matthew McBride. This man in through the new complex of corners, down onto the left-hander, the 90-degree turn, and then onto the pit straight he goes. This is Paul O'Keefe and the Nissan Sentra, pretty much close to a stock Nissan Sentra. Second, also in the Sentra, this is Shane Morgan. And in third place, it's number 74, and that is Darren Greenslade. Look at this gaggle of cars here. The Jenny and Holmes car of Archer is in there. So too the 49 of Scott Smith. So too the 72 of Brent Thompson. But it's this man that continues to lead. 77 just getting out of the way there. Martin Dunn and another one of the Integras. Going around him is Gearty. Here is the Gear X car of Alan Stewart. Diving up the inside of him is Tony Goldsmith. So Goldsmith looking for the front running. These two get together again. Well, they had a bit of a ding-dong battle in race number 2, and it's going to happen again here. Martin Dunn's in it as well. That is Smith, Gearty and Dunn. Goldsmith puts Stewart behind him. And now goes in search of car number 16, I believe it is. And that is Mike Crawford. Or somebody trailing a little bit of damage there. I think it's Jeff Page in the Toyota Corolla. It is car number 11. He's had someone get into the back of it. Just a bit of cosmetic damage. Probably not going to slow the car down too much. But the judges will be having a good look at that. 22 is Phil Noblet. O'Keefe still in the lead. Just off screen at the moment. There he is, just heading out of the big sweeper at the top end of the circuit. Darren Greenslade in second place. Then it is Shane Morgan. Kevin Hyde on the move in the BMW. Right in behind him, it is number 72, and that is the Honda Civic of Brent Thompson. Brent, the president of the SS2000 register. Well, he's held on to the front for quite a time now, and he's going to do it for another lap as they go down past the start-finish line. O'Keefe leads it. Oh, we got some problems here. Someone's gone straight ahead as they go through. It wasn't Noblet. It wasn't Mike Crawford. Didn't see the car. This is the race leader, and he's got his mirrors filled now with Darren Greenslade and the ex-Tim Rooney 1600 class winner of a few years ago, the black Toyota Starlet. Greenslade, normally driving in the Oscars or the Super Sedans, goes into the front. And I think Morgan follows him. Kevin Hyde looking for some racing room as well. Then it is car number 50, and that is Cameron Orr in the Honda Civic. He'd be a contender in the Honda class. Just saw Gavin Higgins go out a shot down there as they work their way through 6 and 7, I should say. 21, Rick Bone, another one looking for front running right in behind him. It is the 33 of Glenn Archer. This is the race leader though, heading into the big sweeper at the top end of the circuit, down a couple of gears in the gearbox. We go back to this enthralling battle further down through the field. Oh, and Glenn Archer's got all he can handle there with Tony Goldsmith, and that's one of the fastest part of the racetrack, and you'd expect Goldsmith to go through, and he does so. The question we're all asking is, where is Matthew McBride? Just got a glimpse of him there. This is another fast car. Mike Crawford, the Mitsubishi Lancer, as we go back to the front of the field. Darren Greenslade continues to lead it here, getting plenty of laps of the Taupo Motorsport Park. Heading onto the pit straight once again. Second place now. Well, that looks like it'll be Shane Morgan. Kevin Hyde moving up as well. That's him up into 4th place now, and I think it would be Martin Dunn just in behind him. Oh, just something coming out the back, maybe a tyre rub there for Darren Greenslade. And look at the heavy traffic here. Number 50 in it, just probably trying to get out of the way at the moment more than anything. Cameron Orr, because right in behind him was Rick Bone. 74, Greenslade continues to lead it. Well, those rear tyres may be just a little bit too big for the flared guards, because it doesn't matter which way he turns, left or right. There is a slight tyre rub. Garrity and Bone going at it like there's no tomorrow. Goldsmith is in there as well. So the fast boys have converged here. Number 50, as we said, Cameron Orr. He'll just want to hold his line and get out of this just as soon as possible. It's him in the black Honda just in behind. Tony Goldsmith at the moment. Goldsmith, the Arrow Wheels car, out on the front, carries the number 1 plate. He is the defending champion. Maybe the man in front of him is going to take that title from him this year, because it has been an amazing performance from Rick Bone in the little Datsun. He's in the 1600 class. Goldsmith in the open class. Down into the big sweeper they come once again. Bone in front of Goldsmith. You get the feeling that may change as they get out onto the long front straight here at Taupo. Down the inside comes Goldsmith. You see the car jerk as Rick Bone grabs another gear. They're all trying to get up to this man. This is Darren Greenslade in the Toyota Starlet. Second place now, Kevin Hyde. Then we go back to Morgan. Then it is Goldsmith. Then it is Bone. Then I think it'd be, it is number 25 that's arrived on the scene once again, and that's Mike Bate. He had a great race in race number 2. He's having a great race here in race number 3. Last lap board is out. This is Kevin Hyde in the BMW, the Herb Morgan Tyres sponsored car. Herb Morgan been a long time supporter of Kevin Hyde right through all his speedway endeavours. Right in behind him now it's Goldsmith. This man though continues to lead it. Goldsmith starting to stalk Kevin Hyde. Both those two cars running in the open class. Oh, there's some major problems here for Gavin Higgins. Goes off, and that's a high-speed get-off too. I think he was lucky to keep it off the tyres. Well, we've been watching that. There's been a leader change because both Kevin Hyde and Tony Goldsmith have swamped Darren Greenslade. Rick Bone about to do the same, but now it is neck and neck. BMW on the inside. On the outside it is Goldsmith. Down into the big sweeper. Goldsmith will make the little Datsun just as wide as possible, and he will stay in the front. And I don't think Kevin Hyde will have any answer to the top-end speed of this amazing little car. He's been at the top of the tree of the SS2000s for a good many years now, although Kevin Hyde comes right back at him under braking, and it's going to be a duel to the flag. Goldsmith in the front, Hyde in second place. It'll be Goldsmith will take the win, and I think he'll take the overall points for the day as well. Kevin Hyde goes across the line in second place. Then it would be Rick Bone, so another great performance from Bone. Fourth place is Darren Greenslade, and in fifth, Michael Bate.
A lot of guys see me coming through and give me a big gap. They know that I can go around the outside of them and what have you, so they do give me room. But yeah, we had to work hard on that one. Trying to catch Rick was the biggest problem. Yeah, he's hard out and very, very hard to catch. At that time, we managed to do it.
Yeah, it's a bit like the hare and the hound, you know, the guys on slicks, they come in and you're chasing the slower guys in the front, but it's a lot of fun. We're on slicks and 1180 kilos and like Tony's 890 kilos, and so it's a big difference. And round here, the groove tyres on our car versus slicks on his car, it's like straightaway is good, but the turns are a handful.
Last up in the show this week, it's more boats. It's 2000 this time, and the Formula Honda class powerboats. They're also at Maraetai.
This is the second to last round of the Formula Honda Championship, run in conjunction with the Cougar Marine NX Metals New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Series. And a lot of the Honda teams licking their wounds after taking a fearsome beating at the previous round in Whitianga. The points chase couldn't be closer as well, and as we get ready as the boats head to the water at Napier, all is set for what should be a fantastic day's racing.
Getting closer and closer with 2 races to go, I guess you can say the pressure's building up pretty high, but you know, when you get out there and the green flag goes up, you kind of forget about it all and just race and see what happens. We've usually been down the back in about 7th or 8th place in bad boys, so this season's been a dream for us, and you know, if we get first or second, we're always happy. Top 3 is just an awesome effort for us, so we're stoked with it.
Past champion Mike Urquhart applied some local knowledge to help his endeavours at Napier.
My brother and my other crewmen couldn't make it down this race. I've got Trent, who's the rear commodore of the yacht club here, so the first time in the boat, so we're going to take him out and scare him. I will try real hard and go as fast as I can, obviously, so no, we'll be on the pace, no worries about that. I wouldn't mind it being a little bit rougher, but I think it's going to be pretty calm, so it'll be a drag race, so the lighter guys might go pretty well, but we'll be in there.
Looking for a spot on the podium, Honda Marines Carl Thompson and Rob Glenn.
We got a good run at the last race, so they got us some points up, and so we're sort of getting competitive now, and I think we come about 5th on the table. So we just got to beat some of these other guys and get some more points, and we should be up there.
Well, as the boats got ready, the wind got up, and that meant big sea swells in Napier, and that's what it's famous for. It was flat here last year. I don't think it's going to be flat this time. We zoom in from our helicopter and look at the start of the 60-mile race. Remember, this features the Formula Honda boats and the classics and the sport classes as well. Riding on board the Cougar Marine start boat here. And it looks like a good start there for back to base 6 as we're on board with Maraetai Motors, and it is back to base 6. It goes past them like they're chained to a post. There's one thing in the Honda class, if you don't get a good start, you're behind the 8 ball from the get-go, and that's what's happened here to the team from Maraetai Motors, Mark and Logan Morrell out of Taupo. Oh, it looks like it nearly are coming together there between one of the 60-mile boats and one of the classic boats by the look of it. It's a long beat straight back down towards the coast here at Napier. Back on board with the Maraetai Motors boat. You can see that they're a little ways down the field, mired in the mid-pack at the moment, and had a big moment there, just about a broach for the team. But they've survived it. There's Honda Marine, good start for them too by the look of it. Cougar Marine just in behind them. So Rob Glenn and Carl Thompson getting away well. Yeah, well, and there's real problems here as, well, it looked like Mike Perro Mortgages had a bit of a broach, and then they've been clipped by Outlaw by the look of it. Here it is on the replay. Now, Mike Perro Mortgages heading completely the wrong way, and Outlaw's just T-boned them, and it looks to me like Mike Perro Mortgages has sustained some damage, big damage on the bow. That's bad news for Hayden Erickson and Jason Garrity. Outlaw looks like they'll get to continue. That's Derek and Lindsay Walden from Auckland, but already the Cougar Marine first response boat straight to the Mike Perro Mortgages boat. This is Miss Electripar. Now they're currently sitting in 2nd place, so they've missed all the carnage at the start. This is Bryce and Mark Helms. Another one that took a fair beating at Whitianga, but coming off a win in Tauranga the round before, so they're looking in pretty good shape at the moment. Mark Helms, a veteran of the Marine Wars, if you like. Here is Cougar Marine. Now, they've got a little bit of work to do. This is Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins. They're currently 2nd in the championship. Oh, and talk about a wild ride. Okay. Mikey Smith, and you can hear the reaction from the crowd as they round the buoy and head up towards the Napier port now. So that is going to slow the progress of Cougar Marine. It's a championship winning boat from last year. This is back on board with Maraetai Motors. This is at the back end of the Honda class now. It doesn't take long to be shuffled out the back, and that's what's happened to H17. The lads from Taupo Here is Team Altitude, or Team for Sale as they like to be called. Tony Todd from Raglan in the boat that Jeff Week took to a top 3 position last year in Formula Honda. And here is the Gambler. And this is the boat that Kelly Smith started her aspirations in offshore racing. Of course, she's now moved on to the Superboat Light class.
I've got Gambler.
This is Simon Gard and John Linkhorn out of Palmerston North, having a turn in H2. The boat's been around right since the inception of the Formula Honda Offshore Racing Series. Building Solutions in 3rd place now. They are the points leaders going into this, the penultimate round of the Formula Honda Racing Series, run in conjunction with the Cougar Marine Inex Metals New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Series, another combination that took a beating in Whitianga. Poor old Michael Knight suffering a broken nose and a laceration to his arm when they did a big broach in Whitianga. This is Electropar. This is Michael's father at the wheel. This is Mark Helms. His young son Bryce sits alongside him, currently sitting in 2nd place in the early going of the 60-mile race. And these are the leaders. Even though we've seen them have their problems, some real antics in the air for Cougar Marine, it is Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins in the front as they turn and head down towards where the majority of the crowd is here, and that's right on the point as they head out towards the port of Napier now. And there's absolutely nothing in it because there's Miss Electropar sitting in 2nd spot. So this is another good performance coming from Mark Helms and his son Bryce. And then as the helicopter clatters overhead, we should just about see the next of the Formula Hondas, and that should be Building Solutions. And remember that Building Solutions and Cougar Marine locked in a titanic battle for the top of the points podium. Here is Building Solutions. Sleepyhead rockets past some of the Formula Honda boats like they're chained to post. That is the speed difference, and it's what the big boat teams have got to contend with, but it's also what the Formula Honda drivers have got to contend to as well. They've got to have one eye on what's going on and one eye on who's coming around them. Just rounding the buoy now, Auckland District Collection, Simon Freeman, and right in behind them it is 817, and that is Morel Motors, 8th or 9th. Just behind Auckland District Collection, so there's really races within races. This is CRD Automotive. They're sitting back in about 10th place. Colin and Zane Dunn at a Langhorne on the west coast of Auckland, the wild west coast. Well, they got some wild weather here in Napier. Characteristic of Napier are the big, heavy sea swells. Not quite the size they were a couple of years ago when they were getting up to about 3 or 4 metres, but good enough to get plenty of lift. This is the battle for 5th and 6th place. This is back to base 6. This is the Powell family. And just up ahead of them at the moment, it is Mike Urquhart. And you heard Mike say he's employing some local knowledge because he's got Trent Price sitting alongside him, and he is very much involved with the harbour and the yacht club here at Napier. So there's nothing in it in this. They're bow to bow. And amazingly enough, for 5th and 6th place. 4th place, well, this is Honda Marine. Now, you heard me say they got a great start. Well, on the first leg down to the first mark, they had a horrendous broach, and that set them back. So now they are in chase mode. Rob Glenn and Carl Thompson. Carl Thompson, the brother of Travis Thompson. Travis Thompson now, of course, with Kelly Smith in Rayglass in the Superboat Light Boat. But those two brothers started in Formula Honda at the first season of this very popular one-mate class. They came from a Thundercat background, but now firmly established in the offshore world. This is the 5th place boat. This is Light Industries, Mike Urquhart, a past champion. Oh, and they got some problems as well. Just not quite getting that landing right off the crest of the wave. And it upsets these little boats. They're all identical, remember, all Sonic hulls.
Okay, got the next one.
This is Gambler. Oh, and they're just having a bit of fun out there at Napier. The wave coming from the co-pilot there, just telling everyone that everything's good. Back from the helicopter, this is Cougar Marine, race leader, and this is good for their points aspirations. They were behind, about 20 points behind Building Solutions going into this one. Now, if they finish where they are at the moment, they'll pick up 475 points. 2nd place is more than 20 points behind, so there will be a change in the leaders. Building Solutions at the moment are in 3rd, remember, so they've got to get around Miss Electropar to get up into 2nd place. Here is Building Solutions. Michael Knight and Shannon Thickpenny. Shannon, absolutely brand new to offshore powerboating before he stepped in the 2nd seat. Fourth place now for Honda Marine, so they're clawing their way back. After that big broach, they started nearly last, so they've really cut their way through the field. Carl Thompson and Rob Glenn. And this is the major spectator point, and the point goes right out, and you can get very close as you watch the action. Here is Cougar Marine. Building Solutions, I can tell you now, is up into second place now, so they've got around Miss Electripar. There they are, so they're trying to chase down the new points leaders, and that will be Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins. This is Michael Knight and Shannon Thickpenny, and there is Miss Electripar. Well, there's bragging rights around the family kitchen table at stake here as well, because, of course, Michael Knight is the son of Mark Helms, and they're in a ding-dong battle for second and third at the moment. This boat in fourth, Honda Marine. Scarab, Tony Carson goes past, one of the classic boats, and also the same 60-mile race. Heading away from the Port of Napier, Cougar Marine, Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins. Another combination that's been around right since the inception of this very popular form of racing. Auckland District Collections and Morel Motors battling it out for the minors. This is for 6th and 7th place, the white boat. They head back around the mark and out onto the course for another lap.
I want a two-shot.
And some close action here, even for the minor placings. Aussie Neil just goes past in his fountain. He's part of the classic race. Now this is back to base 6, and they're in 4th place at the moment. Light Industries in 5th place, and I can tell you the reason for that is because while we were concentrating on that little battle for 6th and 7th, we've lost Miss Electripar somewhere. The word is we're getting from Race Radio they've had a massive broach and they've nearly sunk the boat, but they are going to try and continue and get the points. So everyone moves up a spot because Miss Electripar was sitting in 3rd place. And look at Honda Marine and back to base 6, battling out for 4th and 5th. This is incredible racing. Best result for the pals. This is the man in 5th place. This is Mike Urquhart and Trent Price from Napier. Oh, and they have a big moment in the big waves here in Napier as well. And Mike Urquhart's got all the experience in the world. He's a past champion in this class, been around the offshore powerboat scene for a long time. We go back to the leader now. Take the shot from a helicopter. This is Cougar Marine. This is a championship winning boat from last year. Last year it was piloted by Chris and Debbie Bartlett. This year it is Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins. Building Solutions now sitting safely in 2nd place because remember we've lost Miss Electripar, and the word we're hearing from Race Radio is that they are continuing, but Cougar Marine heading down past the majority of the spectators here at Napier. It is the penultimate round of the Cougar Marine Inex Medals New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Series. 1 round to go. That'll be in Auckland in a fortnight. And now the points have tightened up because they've come from a deficit. If they finish in these positions now, they will be 22 points ahead for Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins. There is the Honda Marine flag, so it has come down to this. Michael Smith and Matty Hopkins take the win. Michael Knight and Shannon Thickpenny are 2nd, and then it is Carl Thompson and Rob Glenn.
Well, we had a pretty decent start. There's about 4 of us, pretty equal, and then we just kept the foot flat and had a couple of moments, but whenever we did make a mistake, we just kept the foot down. Matt kept encouraging me, keep going, and it ended out on top for us. So we're stoked with it. It was awesome out there.
That's it for this week. See you next week for more Retro Motorsport.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.